Hello and welcome to Sidequest. This is our weekly video game show here at Geekverse. I'm your host, Dylan Muss, and I have with me the war is over again. Travis Snell, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing good. Good to be back on Sidequest. Got some fun topics to talk about, and it is the week of Halloween, so that's always the time where I'm the most cheeriest. A couple different days, Halloween. I love going out, trick-or-treating, costumes, seeing going on, scary movies. First time I'll talk about it probably on the next newscast, but here in Kelowna, they're playing the original Halloween in the theaters. So me and Emily are going to go do a date night because now the twins are older, so we can do a couple more date nights nowadays, where before we were just locked up for months. But I am doing well, so.
Yeah. It's funny. This is this, as you mentioned, the week of Halloween, and this whole month I've had like a horror game to talk about, or last week I did like a zombie thing with Taylor, and this week I have no horror stuff because I haven't really played any new games. So unfortunately, the closest to Halloween episode of the year doesn't really have any any scary stuff in it, but that's okay because we're going to talk about some Fallout. So, Fallout has some creepy moments to it, so I guess that could be Halloween-y in a way. Talk about Fallout, talk about some Halo. We're going to finally get to our spoiler-filled thoughts on Donkey Kong Bananza because Travis has rolled credits. We'll leave that for the back half of the episode as deep spoilery things. We'd like to leave those for the end. And then another little Marvel Cosmic Invasion check-in thing. So should be a fun episode. So let's just kick it right into Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is, as I mentioned when I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, with Taylor, where you're doing a draft check-in, and I was worried. I was getting extremely worried.
As last week it was.
Yeah. Still did not have a release date for it, and it's like the last game on my draft that doesn't have a release date, and I was getting scared. They kept saying 2025, and they finally have confirmed it's coming out December 1st, so it is coming out very soon here. And then they've announced, I think, the final two characters. I don't know if there's any secret ones they're going to have in the game when it actually does come out.
I always like this good secret character,
Yeah, I think they said it has like 15 characters, and we might be at that now. So I don't know. Maybe they do have like a nice secret, like you can unlock a boss as a playable character. But what they showed off here was Jean Grey and Iron Man. So Iron Man makes sense. He's kind of in all these games all the time. But Jean Grey is kind of a fun off the wall pick because she's not even in all the Ultimate Alliance games, right? She kind of sometimes misses the boat, unfortunately. And then there was some other fun details in the trailer here, but I'm really glad to get that release date. But yeah, where are you at with this game? Like, are you picking this up now that you've seen a bit more of it, or are you still kind of like, it's fine, I'll play it later when it's on sale or something?
Yeah, I think that's like if time and money wasn't an option, then absolutely. But right now, I don't want to. Even though it's probably not the longest game because I have been behind, I'm still trying to work on the backlog. So now that I've finished DK, I might piddle around a little. Donkey Kong, which we'll get into, I still like for just every once in a while. I'll put on to I want to break some stuff. It's good for half an hour. Cool. I do want to get to Alan Wake 2. My plan was to do that in October, and I didn't really get to it. So that's why that's next on the list. But and I'll probably wait to hear what you think and other people think. I think it's gonna be good. It looks fantastic. The art looks good. As I've talked about before, me and the girls like these type of games. But right now, same thing. They're plugging away. They have like 7 Lego games, so we're not really buying any new Lego games there. So, I didn't think it was gonna be out this year, to be honest. Even though they're saying that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what devs say, right? All it takes is one blog post with a black wall text like, we tried really hard, but next year we can't wait. But no, both choices kind of make sense. Like Iron Man almost felt strange that it was waited this long, because I feel like Iron Man's almost becoming Wolverine, where when you get a Marvel game you're gonna get Iron Man because where it is, Iron Man started the MCU and really got a lot of new people into that genre, right? And Robert Downey, and that's going to be a big reason for Doomsday. And then Jean Grey, I actually didn't think was weird because obviously, like, I'm looking at it now and it looks like she has some fire going on, but like the Phoenix Force, which I'm not sure how much, I think she'll probably have some of those powers. I don't know, but that's very spacey, right? That comes the comic book and even the animated series one, it comes from outer space. It's not just like a gene that's hidden in her body. No, it's usually the Mecron crystal or the Kamara crystal, whatever the heck it is. Yeah. But it's like a crystal. It has all this lore that I remember as a kid reading, like, what? But I do have to ask, because I'm looking at this roster right now. Rocket, he's a separate character, right?
He is, yeah.
Okay,
so yeah, it is Groot. It's just Rocket. And Groot, I don't think is in there. So maybe the first time in a video game that they're kind of, separated from each other.
Other than Lego, I think. Lego Marvel, they were separated, I think.
But at least in Lego, like, Groot is still in the game, where I think this is fair, like, Rocket's kind of on his own, away from his best buddy.
It's just very deceiving because in the art that I'm looking at the roster, they have Rocket Raccoon on the shoulder of She-Hulk. So it's funny. It almost makes you
Okay,
think they're a
nice.
duo. But yeah, I count 15 here. So I hope they're lying because, I talked about this many times. We don't get to wake up on Christmas and get that joy of like, oh, what's that present going to be? It's usually going to be socks or a shirt or a gift card. Halloween, we won't get trick or treat. So I feel like one of the only few, maybe it's be a good bread and butter. One of the only few like pleasant surprises you can get in life is in video games and a secret character. As long as you don't get spoiled, anything like that, like and I remember how much fun we had for Marvel Alliance, right? Like we speculated, but until we got there, it's like, is this person playable? So I hope you at least get one. But I think it's a fantastic roster, and I definitely will be picking this up at some point. Looks fun, art looks fun,
Yeah.
and the roster. I think it's a good collection of main people and some weirdos. I think they definitely got more main people than it looked like at the start. I feel like they led with a lot of the weirdos, but now like Wolverine, Iron Man, I'm even throwing Jean Grey as like a main, like
Yeah.
mainstream one. Captain America, Venom, Spider-Man, Storm. Like those are some Silver Surfer, Black Panther. Those are some big heavy
I
hitters.
forgot
But all
about
fun
Surfer. That's gonna be
yeah,
fun.
that's gonna be a good one. But great characters nonetheless. So
Yeah, I wonder if they were saving it so that like when they could do their 3 or 4 trailer drops post the actual announcement, like each one of those could have like, oh, now Iron Man's in here, now Storm's in here, now Venom's in here. Like get some of the kind of big ones in there for each of those announcements. Maybe that's kind of one of the things they were going for.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I hope there's a couple secrets in there. I think Shredder's Revenge, because this is the same team. I'm trying to think if that had a secret character, because I think you could play as what's the rat, like the trainer guy for the
Splinter.
crew. Yeah, I think he maybe was not announced prior to the game coming out, so maybe that was a secret. And then I think they had like DLC. So I don't know if this game does well. I could see it getting DLC, maybe adding some new characters in that way. But 15 is a lot more than Shredder's Revenge had.
Oh,
even
yeah.
if we're kind of comparing it 1-to-1.
Also, to hurt my credit, it was the M-Cron crystal, by the way. The
You were
M-Cron
really
crystal.
close, though.
I
You
was. I was
you were
some
very close.
mumbo jumbo or something. But,
I believed it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I spotted in this trailer that I haven't seen before is that it looks like there's different costumes for these characters, or at the very least, like different palette swaps for them. Because I saw like Wolverine, I think has his like classic brown,
He
yellow, but
does,
then there's
the
also like the
yellow
blue yellow
tan.
version that I saw in there, and then Jean Grey had like the more like black and yellow variant to her as well. So I think I don't know if they're different costumes or if they're just like color swap rounds, but that's fun. I'm sure you'll hopefully you can unlock those, or I don't know if that's in there so that you can have like multiple Jean Greys at the same time or something. I'm sure that's kind of what it is. So that's cool. And then I don't know. I'm sure some of these villains have been seen before, but in this trailer they had Sauron in there, which makes me wonder if we're gonna go to Savage Land, because I thought all this stuff would be kind of in space rather than like on Earth. But I guess you could just transplant Sauron and stick him in space. Like I could believe a
Yeah,
pterodactyl
you
in
could.
space.
And even Savage Land, even though it's like a weird it's Earth, but it's not like it's like Earth adjacent. It's like a weird place,
Yeah.
right? So even then, maybe you start there, and then you go up to space. But I
True.
can see if you're taking like a little break. A mission in Savage Land kind of fits the cosmic vibe, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
And then they also showed up, Taskmaster, MODOK, Galactus. So I mean, even Taskmaster and MODOK, those are more like Earth-based characters anyway. But you just put them in a spaceship in outer space. That's totally fine. So yeah, very very excited for this game. I'm definitely picking it up day one. I think it's actually I was kind of hoping maybe it'd be nice if it came out before the 24-hour stream. We could play some co-op on there. That's not going to be the case, obviously, this year. Maybe next year we can bust it out. But December 1st is a good release date because I don't think I'll really be playing. Like there is like Metroid's coming out a few days after that, and
are you locked on Metroid?
I'm not. That's
Okay.
why I'm saying like I kind of want something else to play.
Because
at
I'm
that
not
point in
either.
time.
Yeah. I think that last trailer was the last chance to kind of sell me, and I was like, okay, maybe one day, but not a right away thing. So
I think it looks fun. Like there's some decent stuff to it, and even we don't have it in the show notes, but Kirby Air Riders, they had like another hour-long direct showing off a bunch of stuff there, and like that game looks amazing. And I want all these games, but when every Nintendo game is like $115, I just like, okay, I gotta really pick and choose like what games I'm picking up, and unfortunately those two are not making the cut for this year. So maybe someday Air Riders for sure. I don't need to go into it in big time, but man, that game looks fun. It looks like it has so much love and heart poured into it, and fuck, there's just so much going on. And obviously it's like very similar to Smash in the ethos, just because it's the same team, or at least Sakurai making it. So that game looks really great. But this is a nice end of the year drop because I don't think there's too much more I'm picking up. for the rest of the year. I think I'm gonna let me look at my list, see what games I
Yeah,
am.
you gotta save it
planning
for
on
next
buying.
year. Next year's the big Kahuna year, especially
And I was
GTA.
yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like as excited as I am for Resident Evil, like maybe I just wait for a sale on that one because I think especially around that time with like 007 is gonna be around that time.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a day one for me. GTA is definitely a day one. There's a lot of them, and so I think
I was kind
might
of surprised on a side quest when I heard you talking about that being a day one. I was like not that you don't like the series, but I was like, oh, okay. Like I wasn't sure, but I thought just because there was so much stuff, but I was like maybe just a really quiet time because sometimes that happens too. But I kind of thought like
It's
I
not
don't
a
know if that's
quiet
gonna
time,
stick
though.
a day
Yeah.
one. Yeah, that's not a quiet. That's but then when you start talking like right, it's not. So and that's where next year's. It's just so funny because I feel like you're gonna have tons of games at the beginning of the year and then tons of games at the end of the year because there's gonna be that spring where they avoid GTA. But GTA itself is a busy game, right? Because not only those games are main story usually long. I feel like those are what sometimes like 50 to 60 hours. Then
Yeah.
they pump it with side quest stuff. And if there is an online right away for us, I can promise you that there's gonna be many. We play lots of games together, like Helldivers COD separately, but or like just offline. But there'll be many GTA I think GV streams because I think the heist and everything we can get in some really fun hijinks. So that
Mm-hmm.
right away is a time sink sort of game. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
Resident Evil it's a good slot because I think it'll do well, but just lots of games are gonna have some tough time I think next year.
Yeah, and I try not to put too much weight on like how many hours is this game giving me because I actually kind of prefer short games these days, but when you're asking me to pay like 100 and once again 100
Yeah.
110 15 whatever it is for Resident Evil when it's going to be like probably an 8-hour game, it's like some of these like even Resident Evil Village I waited to like play it in October and it was like half off or something like that. So I'll probably
Yeah.
do the same. That'd probably be a good seasonal thing for it cuz yeah, 2026 007 is a day one. GTA is a day one. Wolverine, even though that's not till the fall. Marvel Tokon for me is definitely to be a day one. I'm very excited for that game. So those are, 4 full price games right then and there.
And I felt like when we talked
And
about it, there's maybe like I'm gonna say no, but I feel like there's if the reviews are really good, Lego Batman could sway you. I'm saying you're no right now, but I'm saying you need it closer if there's some good vibes going on.
there's
but
a world. Oh yeah, a new Fire Emblem's coming out next year, so I'm gonna
right.
that's a day one probably. So and that's just what we know right now. I'm sure
Oh,
Game
yeah.
Awards is gonna blast a whole bunch more.
And that's the thing. Technically, you're talking about those Nintendo games. Like even rumors wise, do we have any like heavily strong rumor Nintendo games for next year? Like big ones?
Really?
No. And that scares me.
Nintendo's
that-
usually pretty locked in for leak stuff. I mean, there was the big
Yeah.
Pokemon leak recently, so we kind of know what's going on there. But like, I'm not buying Pokemon games usually, especially not day one kind of thing. So that
Yeah.
wouldn't be one for me. But yeah, we don't really know because we have Mario Tennis
Right.
and I don't know. Like maybe
Yeah,
maybe
there's gonna be
Pikmin's
something
ready
big
to
in the
go. Maybe a
fall.
Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion. Maybe
That's
Animal
the one.
Crossing. I don't think
'Cause
Animal
it's-
Crossing has been rumored. People just kind of are looking at calendars and thinking maybe it's time. But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen next year.
Because I think we discussed this a while back. The Luigi's Mansion team has been free for a little bit, right? Like they put out a different game and then they went. Because wait, was it Strikers? Was their last game or was there something else?
Oh man, I think that is the same team that did Strikers.
Yeah.
I think it's Next Level Games, right?
Yeah, because remember, I thought in Luigi Mansion 3 they put in like a Strikers Easter egg, and that started some of the fires flaming for us, being like, "Oh, something's happening." If that's the case, I just feel like, and because obviously we don't, I can't remember if it was before or after. If you and Taylor, did you guys talk about? Because I listened to the episode, I can't remember. Did you guys talk about Luigi Mansion coming to the GameCube thing?
I don't think we did. I
Okay.
don't know when that was in. Well, I think that was in that original showcase for Switch 2. That was one of the games that was going to come. And
Yeah,
so,
so
it
it's
was
been
just more the
dated
announcement of the release
for this Thursday, so that's cool. I
Okay,
wish it was
that
a
makes
little,
sense.
yeah, I wish it was a little earlier, but okay, a couple days
date. They
before
did
Halloween.
that with 3 as well, though, right? Didn't it drop on Halloween Day?
Yeah, it dropped right before the stream. I remember because me and Taylor had to put like pedal to the metal to get her.
Yeah.
It was it was awful. But just with that drop, I know that is. I feel like if you do the Mount Rushmore of GameCube games, I think Luigi's Mansion's on there for many people for a multitude of reasons. But because they do have it there now, I feel like that's classic synergy, starting to get the wheels moving of like, oh, I really liked these games. They already put out
Yeah.
2 a couple while
And
ago. So
I think last year was 2. So that's I always like that too. That I mean, the Switch is just such a great Nintendo console because it's like the home for so many series now. And yeah, like you have the entire trilogy for Luigi's Mansion on there, which is really cool. So
yeah. So I'm not gonna trust hold you, but I feel passes the smell test that we could next fall begin a Luigi's Mansion, which I don't want
Yeah.
because there's so many. I want the game, don't want that next year. I'll take the announcement, but next year there is enough games for myself on the wallet right now to just even backlog stuff. But I bet that's going to happen. I can smell it already.
Mm-hmm.
And plus it's Switch 2 will have like a big audience. Like they already got a big audience, but even bigger audience, and that
Yeah.
I think is. Maybe not. Maybe I'm overestimating, but I feel like there's somebody out there because that's the reason me and Taylor got Switches was to get Luigi Mansion, right? I also got for Marvel Alliance, but I just think that is a nostalgia-driven thing that is a good one-two punch if it's not a Mario game, which could also be a thing too, right? Could just be a 3D Mario at any point.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and Strikers was 2023, I think, and it didn't get a whole lot of DLC compared to other
I know,
sports games that they've done in the Switch era. So if they did go straight from Strikers to working on, I don't know if they did the remakes though. That's another thing that I guess would take away some of that dev time. So maybe 2026 would be too soon, but maybe they could at least announce it or something like that. I don't know, because I guess, when does that movie come out? The next Mario movie comes out April, so they probably, maybe they want some fun announcements, but they probably want things you can actually buy when that comes out. So we'll see what happens there. So they'll probably have some Mario thing, even if it's. I don't think it'll be the 3D Mario. I don't think they're ready for that.
That'd be bold.
They'll probably have some smaller, like maybe Mario Maker is like an early next year thing as well.
Yeah.
I guess they have Yoshi, so they have a few things, but yeah, it does feel like there's an open spot on the calendar, which also feels like the case for PlayStation. I think Xbox is the only one that we kind of have a bit of foresight, but then they end up canceling half the freaking things they announce anyway, so who even cares about their calendar?
Well, and that's the thing, too. I feel like Switch 2 is, not that they don't have games, they definitely do, but I feel like it's the early days of the PS5 where people kept complaining, saying, there's no exclusive for the PS5, they keep going to PS4, but the PS5 just kept selling and selling. I think the Switch 2 is kind of like that, where I think whether someone missed the boat, like family-wise, didn't get a Switch 1, or their Switch 1 is broken down, I feel like that life cycle now for that Switch might have gone away to be like, let's just get a new one. Or it's a good this year, Christmas. Like, that's a perfect, what do you get the young kids we don't really know? That's like what we did for their birthdays, right? It's a good family. Okay, everybody likes this gift. There's a game for everybody. You got Bluey, you got Mario Kart. So that's where it's like, even like I still think next year you could just put out Mario Tennis, and probably the Switch 2 would have a very successful year with all the old games and everything sound, because you got to remember, we're not even, when did Switch 2 come out? In June, right?
June 4th.
Yeah, like we're not even a year into it selling so well, so there's still gonna be a whole bunch of people buying the Switch 2 just to have the Switch 2 in the next calendar year, right? So
absolutely. And then went back and we're looking at the calendar release for the rest of the year, and I think Marvel Cosmic Invasion is the only like guaranteed day one buy for me, unless somehow it's like the reviews are horrendous, but just based on the team's last game and how freaking great that was, I don't think that'll be the case. But even like Plants vs. Zombie, I was going to pick that up, that remaster remake, but then it's just like extremely buggy and like half-assed and stuff. So like, I don't know. There's a lot of games these days where I don't pre-order anything. I got to make sure I wait and see, because so many things just come out half-baked these days, which is unfortunate. So there you go. There's Marvel Cosmic Invasion. So my draft is alive, and I'm feeling pretty good about my chances right now. We won't do the full recap because we did that last week, but that's good news for me. Now we just have to hope for Kirkland that Mina the Hollower does get a release date this year. But who knows about that one? We'll have to wait and see. Let's jump into our first ad break, actually. Maybe that'd be a good time to do that. I'm going to thank our Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superbad Mike, TGGLM69, Jeremy Renner, Charlie Rendell, Cocktail Clay, John with no H, and Sam Green. Thank you all so much for keeping the lights on. Patreon is the best place to support us if you want to do so. You get episodes early and ad-free and exclusively in many cases. You get to vote on all sorts of things, such as the content we create. You truly are a producer. We don't just call it that for a fun name. Like, you actually do, choose what the content is that gets made, which is very exciting. And Travis, do you want to talk a little bit about the upcoming stream?
Yeah, November 8th, not 28th, November 8th, 24 hours for Extra Life. Obviously, we do a lot of games. There's a couple other, even the Trivia and Jeopardy, like those are games, but primarily this is a video game stream. The Gauntlet is back, so if you've never, as Bubs was asking me for a couple playlists this week, so I will the week of start promoting, and I'm going to have, because Season 3 I never made a playlist, so I'm going to make playlists if you want to watch some stuff, but that's fun. That's us doing some competition, but there'll be other other stuff. I just got I'm at, what is it? I got 9 characters left for the Celebrity GM mode that
Oh
Dylan
yeah,
Russ, Kirkland, and
I gotta send
Taylor.
you some suggestions for that. I'm gonna write
Yeah,
that down.
I did look for the pool. Like, not okay. Obviously, Night Swim pool didn't exist, but I did just search pool and nothing. Like everybody, I'll
No
go over the
Deadpool?
list. No, there's tons of dead pools,
Okay,
but I
okay.
was trying to look for just someone made like a pool, and it didn't have. I didn't know how
Just like
that
a
would work.
Navi. Is there a Navi? I'd be down for that.
There
Someone?
might be a Navi appearing on
Okay,
the
we got to
stream.
do a
Yes,
Navi and then
yes.
just get like someone who's 7 foot tall. That would be super fun.
Yeah, there's a couple I haven't told them yet, and for disappointment, I looked not a single Bionicle. I was super surprised, nowhere on there. But this is the
Oh,
other thing too
okay.
that me and S Bubs, because S Bubs has helped me with some stuff. The unfortunate thing is the PS5 and the PS4 communities are different, and I'm using my
Oh,
PS4 version because I can't. You only get 100 slots for created characters, and I can't fill up my base game with the weirdos and stuff, especially with me and David S Bubs stream. So I have the PS4, but I'm pretty happy with the roster. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. Yeah, come donate, come watch if you can't. Just share the stream, like it. We're gonna be going for 24 hours. There's gonna be a bunch of goals that we'll do the day of. There's gonna be goals that we could do outside. So yeah, it's always a fun day. I'm very excited to get the crew back together after GV Day because that was a tons of fun time, and
hmm
we made it to 1 a.m. and I feel like that was more low key because we were just sitting the whole time. Luckily with the stream, we're actually for a bit more moving, and yeah, everything you donate goes towards BC Children's Hospital. You don't have to hit the goal. Everything we can get is going to go there and help towards surgery, recovery, hospital stays, all that stuff. So,
hmm Very well said. Okay, let's jump to our first ad break. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Halo Campaign Evolved is the name of a remake, remaster, somewhere the classic ambiguous in between. No one really knows.
you couldn't draft it though. I'd say probably right. You couldn't have drafted it.
Ew, that would be an interest. That's an interesting conversation that we'll have to have in January because there's this is
Okay.
definitely not a spitting image of the original because they don't even
Yeah.
have multiplayer in there, right? Like it's just a campaign remake. So I could also see that tanking reviews potentially. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, this is Halo Campaign Evolved. This is a like I said remake remaster of the original Halo's campaign only. I don't know if you can like even go into the multiplayer maps. Like, there's obviously no multiplayer in it. I don't know if you can like boot those up. You can do multiplayer co-op like campaign,
Right. Yeah.
but it seems like it's kind of a pared down version of this. From what I understand, this is the original, quote unquote, original code. With like the Unreal Engine layer over top of it to give it these visuals, which is exactly what they did for the Oblivion remaster earlier this year, where it's like, okay, the game actually plays completely the same. It has the same bugs. It has the same issues because it's just like a coat of paint. That's like the second engine. There's 2 engines running at the same time. I don't know how all this works, but that's what they're doing here as well. But the only thing I don't know is if this is the same code from that original game or if it's the code from like the Master Chief Collection version, which I don't know if that even had different codes. So
Mm.
I don't know. I've seen conflicting reports, and I don't think they said in their article like what exactly it is here. But I think for the most part, they're trying to be as true to the original game in terms of its feel as possible. So I'm guessing that means like no sprinting, like the current Halo games have, and some of these things, some of these limitations or expansions that they've made. Along with that, it is getting 3 prequel missions, which who knows how long or short those are? Are those full-length missions that are like half an hour, hour long? Are they just quick little romps through like 2 environments? We'll have to kind of wait and see. As I mentioned, no multiplayer. And then, of course, the biggest thing of all is that it'll be the series debut on a Sony PlayStation console because this is going to be coming out on PS5 as well as, of course, Xbox and PC. So they've finally gone nuclear with their multi-platform strategy, Travis, and they said they didn't. They said they weren't going to do this, but they say so many things and they just go back on it. So it's almost meaningless to listen to the execs over
Yeah.
at Xbox these days. But yeah, they're finally making the jump. So I want to hear your thoughts on that element of it first, and then kind of I don't know your interest level or thoughts on just the idea of this remake in general.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I talked about a little bit on Trav's Told You, and now there's with this. Never trust what these people that are billionaires or running multi-billionaire corporations are saying. And I'm not saying this in like they're all evil, like, some of them might be not great people, but it's in the sense where they're trying to look after the company's bottom line, right? So, and that's where I think we've seen this montage a bunch of times, but I feel like Halo was the peak and then the just nosedive of seeing 5-10 minute montages of Phil Spencer and team talking about the two games and Halo will never, and the classic quote of if we lose our way with Halo, we lose our way with Xbox. And that's kind of it. We've talked about this many times. We knew this was coming, but this is the official kind of, I won't say nail in the coffin, but nail in the coffin for the Xbox we know. Because I was talking about with Emily, where it's just like
sure.
it's not going to be like Sega where it completely goes away, but in the sense where, in 5 to 10 years, my girls might, like, if they're still buying games, it might just be a PlayStation, Nintendo, right? And there's all these rumors about these these almost $2,000 Xbox that's going to happen next time, which sound like just a PC. But I guess the reason we knew this was happening is because I know it's not the exact same and it's not as big, but the second Gears got onto Sony, I think
Right.
for me, I knew it was over. It's like, because that to me is just the second step. That's like wetting the whistle a little bit, getting people ready. And yeah, I've never played a full Halo game, never owned a Halo game. I don't think in knock on wood, even in the Gauntlet, because the Gauntlet this year it's going to be random, so we're pulling names from a hat or in games from a hat, everything. We're going to see what happens. Never had to play it in there either, so we'll see what happens. So yeah, I don't know. I could be like, it would only be us as a group playing together, having some fun. I don't really have much interest in playing it solely like Halo, and I've had an Xbox, so it's not that I didn't. It's just it came up in a time where I was not really invested in the first person shooter games. I know it has huge touchstones, but I never got any of the new ones because I've heard they're kind of all right. So to me, if you're looking at the new Xbox, which they are, this makes complete sense. Get this on there. Even when they did the reveal, this isn't a rumor. I can't remember his official title. It wasn't Phil, but someone said like this is the start of Halo being on the PlayStation going
I
forward.
think
Like
it's
it's
Matt Booty, who I forget his
Yeah.
title, but he's another
yeah.
big wig over there.
So that's where it's like I feel like we already knew this, but if you wanted any, because I felt like there were a lot of Xbox people, X-boys, but a lot of Xbox people, and even Taylor wouldn't admit this, right? But even somebody that was like really hardcore, I think Halo was the crown jewel. Like, well, that's our guy, like that's our chief. He's our brand. He's the savior, and it's just you got to get used to that. Xbox is not. They're shifting in a completely different manner, and I think it sucks because I think there's multiple ways this could have been avoided. I think there's mismanagement since the Xbox One era, which is not a hot take. We all know that, but it's just it is sad for me in this sense. I was just fine, bugging Taylor about our sales being better and having better games, but I didn't want this console to potentially go away, because and at the same time, the next one I sum up with Emily, like if there is like a last Xbox console that's kind of like a PC, it's like maybe I'll get that, but at the same time, it's like a $1,200 to $1,700 USD or United States price tag. It's like that's a lot of money, and it's like what bang for my buck am I get? Obviously, I haven't been on since you guys talked about, but yeah, I ditched my Games Pass just because I will get it when there's something that interests me, but right now there's nothing that I can't buy on PlayStation, and for $30 a month, that's just a lot. So it was inevitable that this was going to happen, but it is just weird seeing the Halo cover with the blue strap. Like, I know that's not even the real cover, but just seeing that aesthetic, it feels kind of weird stuff, So, it's an odd time, but it's just, it is this, we're no longer talking about the future of Xbox. Like, this is Xbox now. This is the present. They are a big publisher that has some software, even I didn't follow it, but, like, isn't that handheld super expensive too? Like, I just saw people complaining about it. Yeah. So it's definitely more for people that have money to just kind of throw around. And that's where the Xbox, if they do a last console, sure, for history's sake, would I like to own it? Sure. But I also don't just have money to throw around. I'm luckier than more people out there, but I don't have that amount to be dishing out for pretty much like a smaller PC. So we'll see. I think they're primarily, hardware next 5 years will likely go away, and then it's just games. And I don't know, like, I guess, do they do still like game? Like, do they still do press conferences and show like when they do like an Xbox Direct? Do they still do that if they don't have a console to sell?
I think so. I think because now more
guess
than
they
ever,
get games.
they have a larger audience who's actually gonna be interested in those games.
True.
Because they're
No,
just
that's
having
true.
it on more platforms than when there was. I mean, PC is a huge audience, but it's kind of a different space. So when you have more of their showcases where it's like, oh, a quarter of things in here are on Switch too, or literally probably 100% of them are on PlayStation, then it's like, okay, now the PlayStation fans have a reason to tune into this if they weren't before, and even the Nintendo fans do as well. So I think they'll still do that because they still own just an extreme amount of studios even though they're closing a bunch of them and firing a ton of people, but they still have a ton of stuff to show off. So I think they'll probably continue to do that for years. But I think I'm in a similar boat where I think for me the point was really the Game Pass price increase, where that's just not really a good value anymore. And like I've gotten so many years of amazing value out of Game Pass on my Series X, and I don't regret getting this console at all. But I don't see myself picking up another Xbox in the future, especially if this thing that Sarah Bond was saying about it being a premium high end console. It's like where's the value in this? Like is it for the games? But I can play those elsewhere. Then I can also play all these other things that your console doesn't have. Or I can, buy this console that's extremely expensive to then also pay an extremely expensive subscription every month to access these games. It doesn't really make sense anymore. Yeah, I guess it is for extremely rich people. So like, sure, yeah, that's fine. But that's just not really worth it for me anymore, especially when there's so many old games I still have to play. So many things on my Steam I've bought and haven't played yet. There's a million indies that I could go play instead. So I'm not going to be hurting for games to play in the future.
I could be wrong. I'm not trying to put them in a corner because I don't know, but I just almost feel like if they're extremely rich people, I feel like they're going to have like this PC that can do everything, because it's like that sometimes for me is like the updating and this and that. It's like, oh, do I want to spend money on that? Where if people are like the 1% or just very lucky and just have money to blow, it's like, oh, just get a PC and then take it to a shop and then you do X, Y, and Z, get a controller work. Like that's where it'll be interesting. But I just kind of, unfortunately, with the past 10 years of Xbox, just have to lean to it probably won't work out, and then they'll just stop doing it. Like I said, there's almost just like a novelty of why I want to get that console, because I do think that could be the last one they ever produce, this upcoming one, because we already heard rumors that they want to get out of this business. And for me it'd be good because I don't have a PC, but there's always games that show at a Summer Game Awards or a game or like a Summer Games Fest or Game Awards where, oh, I can't wait, and then the Steam thing pops up, like, oh damn. So this is like could work for someone that's like a newbie like me, but I don't think I can fully admit in this sphere, I don't think there's too many that are like me, that are like, oh, I would just get this to play some Steam games. Like I think most people like have the PC for that. So I think I'm in a very small demographic, and then also you got to take my small demographics like, hey, who's enough money to pay for this, right? So I don't know, we'll see what happens, but I just imagine that they put this out, doesn't do well again, and then they kind of just kind of kibosh hardware,
Yeah, I think I mentioned this when I was talking with Taylor, of just like, well, even this handheld they just released, it's not really theirs, right? Like they just partnered up with another company, slapped their logo on it, and yeah, it's an Xbox handheld, but like not really. It kind of looks like it, but it's really just like wearing a wig and makeup, pretty much. And so I feel like maybe that's the future too. Like maybe there's some PC company out there that is like, oh, we're gonna make like a smaller PC, like physically something that's meant to be played on a home screen, and then maybe Xbox is like, hey, you want to partner up and we'll slap our logo on it and we'll make the next Xbox console. So maybe we could see something like that. But yeah, it's I don't know, it just feels like they're kind of withering away a little bit, even though they're more than ever. They have so much IP and so much stuff they could do. But
that was supposed to be the turning point when they got Blizzard and Activision. We thought, oh, this is gonna be interesting now, but it just,
and maybe it will. Like I don't really care personally if I have their box. Like I don't care if I have to play their stuff on PlayStation. It might be weird the first time I boot up Halo on a PlayStation, but then you know what? I'll get used to it pretty quick, and it's like, oh yeah, the game is the same. The controller is just like a little bit different. But coming back to Campaign Evolved here. So it's been a long time since I've played through Halo 1 again. I never even booted up Master Chief Collection, so I haven't gone back to like that version of these old games. But I love Halo. I love the series, especially that original trilogy, and played through this campaign many times with my friends growing up. Very nostalgic for it. I think it would be fun to go do a co-op playthrough with you and Taylor and Kirkland getting there.
I wouldn't know what's coming. That's the thing. I'd have no idea what's happening.
And we wouldn't either for at least the 3 prequel missions, because there's some new stuff in there. So I'm down for that too. I think that's fun. Like I couldn't tell you all the missions in Halo 1 now, so it's mostly going to feel probably new for me, regardless of whether or not these are new missions or not. Yeah. And obviously with the new coat of paint, it's going to look a whole lot different, and I'm sure they throw some in, like, it sounds like they're not going to throw in like weapons from future games in there, but maybe they'll have a couple extra fun little bits and bops in there.
How many people could you play in the campaign originally back in the day?
I only remember if you're doing 2, but I feel like you probably could do 4.
Okay, I hope that's the case, because I remember
doing 4 in Halo 3, but that was online. Like I'm trying to think split screen how many.
Yeah. So
Maybe you
do we
could
think
do 4.
online it could do 3 to 4? Because that's my
I think
hope
they
at
said you
least.
can do 4 online. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because I remember I was completely down because I didn't play it forever. I was completely down to replay Gears of War when I got to PS5. Even though I have it, I was like, oh, that'd be fun. Like I haven't done this forever. I did it many times with my friends staying up playing that, and I would have been like us doing it together would have been fun. But then it's like, okay, it's just 2, so it's like okay, I get that because that's the way that game was kind of from the ground up. But
Hmm.
yeah, if it's even if it's 3 is great because it's always sometimes hard to get all 4 of us together on the same weekend. But 4, that's
Yeah.
perfect. So yeah, that'd be a good time.
Just some Googling here, and I'm not trusting the AI overview because that's always wrong. It looks like the original game had a max of 2 locally, but then you could do online, even on that original Xbox, online to get to 4 players. And then the Master
Okay.
Chief Collection version had like 4 players. Well, that one I don't know if you could do it split screen, but at least that's in an era where everyone has online
Okay.
and
So there should be no
internet
excuse in
connectivity.
2026 for us not to be able to do 4 people for Halo.
Yeah,
So,
I think
online.
they'll hopefully have that in there. So that's
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And
Okay.
if that is, I guess, a change potential. Well, I don't know if once again, I don't know if you can actually do that split screen, but who's playing Halo split screen these days anyway? I actually did it with a friend like last year. It was super fun, but that's a
Yeah.
very rare thing to line something like that up. But yeah, I'm excited for this. I mean, I'm not gonna pay for it. Like if the next time I'm like on Game Pass to play, Elder Scrolls 6 for $30 a month, then like it's probably when I'd play this. I'm not gonna like download because even, I still want to get to Halo Infinite's campaign. Still haven't done that. I don't even think I ever played Halo 5's campaign, so I'm a little behind on my campaigns. But that's where it's always good, I guess, to go back to the original one because then it's like, well, I don't need to play the other things in advance. I can kind of just jump right in. So I
Yeah.
do love Halo. I still like to play some Infinite every once in a while. I'll probably do that a lot less now that I'm going to be subscribed to Game Pass very little. But yeah, I do love Halo. Always will. It's a very close to my heart series. So there you go. Halo Campaign Evolved is a
And
thing.
I guess the positive, the one pro, because I saw obviously a lot of people that are very heavy on the Xbox side. I think there's a bit of it. There's some that's memeing like, oh man, like going overboard. But there is some of people that go like, if they've played an Xbox their whole life and been loyal fan, never went anywhere. Like I do feel bad for those people. Like it will feel weird in come time. Like I know I don't know if he will get that console. He has to run past Madison. But at some point when they start making them, like Taylor will have to. Unless he gets a PC, buy a PlayStation to play Halo. But like that's where I say, I guess the positive is a lot of stuff sucks that some of the branding's going away and the consoles might die eventually and all this stuff. But at least with them being this big company that you could hopefully in 5 years they'll make a new Halo game. You could still play it on the PlayStation. Obviously, I'm not saying like Sonic was this be all end all game, but at least. Or like the Sega died and it went away for a little bit, right? So at least some of these brands, whatnot, obviously it's just because of money. But if you like a certain brand or IP, you have a chance of getting a new game, right? Especially if this does really well on PlayStation, it'll, I think, implore Xbox even more of, hey, let's get a new Halo out, let's make it really big. Because now it's not even like, oh, we have to compete. Now it is like, okay, we could make tons of money off of this, right? So that's the only silver lining I'll get for anyone that's really bummed out is if you like some of these games, they're not going away. It's not like if a company would win out of business and then, oh, what happens to Gears? What happens to Fable? What happens to, Master Chief? Sometimes those things get bought, but there's many franchises that are out there that are just dead. And at the same point, you never know because Xbox will kill it itself. Look at Perfect Dark, right? So you
Yeah.
never know. But I think your big ones are safe, and I think this should do relatively well. I don't, and I feel like I'm probably in a small Venn diagram of people that haven't played Halo at all. But I'm sure there's some people out there that same thing have only had a PlayStation their whole life, right? So
Yeah, definitely. I think that's maybe a bit of a missing piece of the puzzle for PlayStation in general these days is like a first-person shooter
yeah,
campaign-focused kind of thing from their first parties. It seems like they're not really putting that into that. Now, they did acquire Bungie, like the original developer of Halo, so it's funny to have this kind of full-circle connective moment in a way.
that is funny. Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I think this is like useful to have. Well, I mean, they had Concord and that bombed, of course,
Yeah.
and that's gone now. And then
And
I guess
Killzone's not
Bungie
coming
is
back.
making Marathon, like the series they made before Halo. So it's funny that they're kind of intersecting in a way almost. But I think, just like it's happened with Forza and Sea of Thieves and like these other Xbox games that finally get ported over to PlayStation, you look back at PlayStation's best-selling games of the months after that game comes out, and like they're always like right there in the top echelon. So obviously there is proven to be like if you're getting those I guess it would be good to look at how big the Gears remake did on PlayStation. That would be a good litmus test, but I think even way past that, Halo is Campaign Evolved is going to sell huge on
Yes.
On PlayStation. That's going to be going to be good for Xbox. They're going to make a lot of money from that.
Yeah, and I think when that happens, another thing is I think the last shoe to really drop for Xbox, because who knows what they'll do with this console or whatnot, but I think the last shoe to drop will be going away from like the timed exclusive, right? Even then they might go like, well, we could just make more money. Let's say Indiana Jones 2 comes out, right? And last time it was like 6 months or 8 months, whatever. If they look at enough data and go, you know what? We would just make a lot more money if we just dropped it both PlayStation, Xbox right here. Like, who cares if they're buying it on, especially, I guess, to that point, a lot of these games, Indiana Jones 2, we're going to talk about another Fallout in the future, Halo, anything. If that console, this big expensive one, comes out and it is very niche and it sells very niche, they will be more employed. Like, you know, like, let's just get everything day one and not worry about like selling it on this $1,700 console, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Like that's the next shoe to drop, and it's gonna drop. I don't know when, but I think I'm pretty confident by saying we're in 2025. I bet by 2027. I think that, or I'll say with
I mean, because we
you know,
so far, it's just Doom Dark Ages is the only one I can think of off the top of my head that dropped day and date on PlayStation.
I think so so far. Unless there's probably some little title out there that we're not thinking of, but like for the big boys, yeah, and I'll say by like the first half of 2027, it will happen or already have happened. So
What
I'm
about
saying
Oblivion?
like
Did that drop day and date on PlayStation? That remake?
Oh, that I don't know. I feel like it would have, right? Because like Oblivion, you'd be able to play there before, so I don't feel like it's a big holdback. I know they could hold it back, but it's not like oh man, they're holding back the
It
remake to
looks
Oblivion.
It looks like it did release day and date
Yeah.
on PlayStation, which that was like that was a PS3 game as well, so it makes sense. And obviously both those are like from the Bethesda umbrella, so maybe that changes things a little bit when you're looking at like genuine Xbox IP that they created. Obviously Bethesda gets like a little bit of their own management. They kind of run things a little bit on their own, even though they're under that humongous umbrella these days. But yeah, it's already happened a couple times, so I think we'll start to see that. And I think even the Gears one probably did too, right? Like that probably dated.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess maybe it's a little different with remakes, but it's going to happen with Halo as well, right? That's also dropping date and date. So once that's kind of an expectation of like, oh yeah, Halo game released PlayStation same day. Why does Halo 6 not release same day on PlayStation?
Yeah.
People will be kind of confused about that. So maybe they just kind of have to commit to that at some point because it's just an expectation.
The one I'll be watching for next year, because that'll be the same thing as like Halo going to PlayStation, is what they do with Fable. Because if Fable is day one, I don't think it will be, but if it is day one with PlayStation, then I think that's every big title going forward could do that. The next Blade, like when Blade comes out, all this stuff, like because again, they just might not see the money.
Blade,
in it
I could see happening because once again, under the Bethesda wing of things.
Yeah.
Which would be nice. That'd be cool for that game. I want it to just have the hugest audience ever and get a bunch of DLC. So that's what I'm praying for that.
So,
God,
it's an
I
interesting
hope
sad
don't
time.
Close down Arcane. That would be the saddest thing ever.
I hope, yeah, and that's where there's still probably a lot of sad stuff to happen down the line too, right? So it's an interesting time in video games. Already hearing rumors about PS6. It's like I'm still happy with my PS5 right now. yeah, we're moving too fast, So
I mean, I did just buy a PS5 in the last calendar year, so for me that is still very fresh. But
yeah. But as you've seen, I don't think they're going to be. I think more than ever, they're just into making games for the old base as well. So
yeah, definitely. All right, we're already kind of in the Bethesda sphere, so let's stay there with a little 2-for-1. So it was Fallout Day last week, I believe, and they announced a Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, and I think this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the Fallout 76. They announced a DLC, maybe alongside like a Fallout Season 2 TV show trailer or something like that.
It was a teaser or something, some new stuff,
something along the lines. Pretty much what they announced for Fallout 76 is there's a new update called Burning Springs, which features the Ghoul, Walton Goggins' character in the game, and he's like giving you bounty hunter type quests. And it's going to Ohio, which I didn't know this until I looked at a map of the U.S., but like they started in West Virginia, and then they went up to Pittsburgh, and now they're over in Ohio, which are all like, bordered with each other. So they're all staying in the same realm of things. I don't really know how the Ghoul got over there. I'm sure there'll be some story reason about why he's chilling in Ohio, giving out like bounty hunter quests. So that's one thing. But then, the newer thing here is that Fallout 4 is getting Anniversary Editions coming out November 11th. Which includes all the DLC that game had, as well as 150 Creation Club DLC add-ons that are included in there as well, and then you can download more as well through the Creation Club stuff that still exists. And then they said that next year it's coming to Switch 2. So that's kind of maybe the biggest part of this. Like, and we'll see how that runs. That could be That could not go well, but it is a a game from 2015, so maybe it could go pretty well at this point. But I wanted to bring this up because I mean, one, there's been maybe some rumors, maybe speculation, maybe just people being hopeful of like, okay, if season 2 of the TV show is going to Vegas, like maybe New Vegas gets a remake, remaster, or like
Every year, people are talking about New Vegas something, but continue.
I don't know. I feel like maybe that was quiet for a few years though. I feel like it came up more recently, like specifically with the show and
Yeah.
like knowing that information.
I think it comes up a lot more often. I just feel like
Yeah.
that's always like a like a fan dream of like either a New Vegas game or like a heavy remake of New Vegas.
I feel like the actual rumors though have been more for Fallout 3 and that one maybe being the next one to get a remaster remake treatment, and I think that kind of spurred up a little bit more when Oblivion got that remaster, because it's like, oh, this is PS3, Xbox 360 era. You would think that maybe they could employ the similar techniques that they used to make that remake. Obviously, Bethesda didn't make that remake. They just got another studio that I forget the name of to do that. Throw that Unreal Engine coat of paint over top of it. So it seems like maybe that would be the next one. And I did not a full playthrough, but I played a good amount of Fallout 3 maybe a year or two ago. And yeah, like I think the game still holds up, but you definitely like specifically the gun mechanics in that game are like not very good at all. You can't even like fully aim down scopes of your gun unless it's like a sniper that has like a scope on it. So obviously there's like a lot of room for improvements there to make the game just like a bit more better on the action side of things. But yeah, like obviously those would be the more exciting, more worthy remakes, but this is the easier thing to do, is to just put a little bit of extra something on Fallout 4 and then sell that again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that like I feel like we were memeing on like Skyrim. It's like, oh, we're past a decade now of them remaking new versions of Skyrim, and it's like, yeah, Fallout 4 has been out for over 10 years now, or I guess it came out in November 2015, right? So I guess it's just hitting its 10-year mark. You're muted now, Travis. But yeah, like it's at its 10-year mark, and now we're kind of just in that same cycle. So we got the Oblivion one. It gives me hope that maybe we will see those. But yeah, I think this does make a lot of sense, just because Fallout 5 I still think is very far away. The Elder Scrolls 6 is their next thing. They're going to support that with DLC, so we're not going to see Fallout 5 for a very long time unless they hand that IP off to some other studio, which I don't think they'll do. So I think in the meantime, you fill the void with 76 DLCs, with remakes, remasters of older games. I just was hoping for maybe something a little bit more exciting than Fallout 4, which already looks and plays pretty damn good still.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing. We've obviously talked about that. Even with Skyrim, people felt like that way. I feel like obviously Last of Us gets memed upon a lot of those images of look at the upgraded one, and people go upgraded one, like it's. And
I think Fallout 4, sorry to cut you off, got its like next gen patch like last year. So that was I actually got a recent update like super recently. So it doesn't even feel like it's been that long. And like, did we really need this right now?
Yeah, so I think it's one thing I said while I was muted because I was coughing. That was I think our first real group game review, because Yumi and Kirkland had it, and I remember a classic review that Taylor in the old days of Geekverse just sat there and listened to us for an hour talk about Fallout, and then he gave like a 5-minute review of Call of Duty, and then I think we figured out, you don't actually.
Before it was socially okay to sit out on a podcast episode.
Yeah, that was the rule for the because that was still November, and we started the podcast in July, August, so September, October. So about 3 months we had like, we got to do an episode of only all of us can be there. So it's interesting that. So go back and listen to that. It's funny. Two, another thing that's funny is you have Last of Us, Mario, and Fallout, these massive franchises, gaming IPs getting shows, movies, and there's not like a specific sequel to go with them or game to go with them.
Yeah,
obviously, right. Mario, there's tons of them, right? But it's like we were always like, well, they gotta have that 3D Mario here at some point, and they never really have since then. And for the next movie, Last of Us, there's been rumblings that they're doing a Last of Us 3, and maybe I guess they were working on that the online game, right? So that could have been it, but that's dead now. And now same thing with Fallout. So that's the thing, because I do remember Neil Druckmann saying that, hey, anytime a season comes out, we sell a bunch of copies of Last of Us. And I guarantee you that's the same way with Fallout. The same way as when that show ended. I've always heard great things about New Vegas, never played it. I don't have Games Pass right now, but that's the one game I would like to. Maybe after season 2, if I'm hyped on Fallout and I have a little time, it's like, I'd love to get in that. Obviously, I don't think massive game to like other games that are out right now, but to the extent of there will be people like myself, because even now, but back then there's just stuff you missed, especially when you were younger. You couldn't buy everything, right? So I think this is your kind of insinuating that, where Fallout 5, long ways away. So it's like You either have three options. Either you got to rush that game out, which we know is not going to happen with Bethesda. They're not that type of company, right? Of, oh, we just got to throw something together. So that's not happening. They're not going to hand it off, which, I'm curious why
We
they
need more
maybe.
spin-offs. I want to do that. I actually have that on the calendar to do
Mhm.
pitching Fallout for Fallout spin-offs. So I don't want to get into it now because I
Yeah.
definitely want to dedicate a full episode to that. But I think that's just the answer. And like even for
That
Elder
I agree
Scrolls,
with that
pass
answer.
off more of those things. Yeah.
I agree with that because I feel like that's selling hotcakes, and maybe just don't make it also as big as well too. Like make it something like, hey, we want to make it half this, but just because the other thing is Fallout is known for obviously their big worlds, being very weird, voice trees or whatever, dialogue trees, but also like even Fallout 4, which I think is everyone looks like, oh, a good one. I really enjoyed it. Most time their stories are intriguing, even the concept of them, right? So same thing of like maybe make the world 50% smaller than Fallout 4, but the story just rocks, right? And it's not, or even like what they do, because I'd say I don't know what size it is, but with like the Outer World and stuff like that, right? That's nowhere near the size of that, but people like that and has a lot of options. So I think there's ways, but if they're not going to do any of this stuff, then this is the best course of action just to simply make money. I'm with you where Fallout 4 is not that old. If I wanted to play it, I'd probably just reboot it up on my PS4, and even then, it might even work for my PS5, like my own copy. I don't know for sure, but a lot of the games are backwards compatible. Do you know if that even works? Like, if I
New
could play?
Vegas on a PS5.
No, just Fallout 4, just old Fallout 4. that
Oh
I have
yeah,
on my-
it would.
Yeah.
It would, yeah.
So it's like if I really want to play it, I would just pick up that save file again. Of course, there's DLC, this and that, but it's just, but at the same time, there's always people that missed Fallout 4, and there's always going to be new people that are coming in the gaming system. That same thing. I've never heard of Fallout 4, or, never got it on their hands.
The
So
Switch audience potentially a big pocket for that.
that too. So yeah, I think in this sense, it's smart to make it. The show's well reviewed. I'm excited for the show. We'll be reviewing that, and I think it's a smart decision if obviously the game is nowhere near, and they're not doing your suggestion, which I agree of doing just a spin-off or something. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I kind of just thought of this. Didn't have it in our notes or anything, but Starfield, like that, there was like they kind of teased that DLC. That was like 2 months ago now. I feel
Yes.
like, and I feel like we haven't seen anything about it. Do you think that's like a Game Awards level thing, or is that get like a spot thing at the Xbox Developer Showcase where we get like a big Starfield DLC? Like, when's that game kind of coming back into the limelight a little bit?
do they have with the directs? Do they kind of have like a rhythm of every couple months or certain dates and whatnot yet, or no? Because I don't follow them as much. The Xbox ones.
So they have their developer direct every January. It's at the end of
'Kay.
January. Then they have their like E3 spot showcase. And that's like the only guaranteed places that
Mhm.
you see there. Like I guess that's where they lowered all the stops and they put a lot of money into like a production value to put like an actual big show together.
Did Halo have a date yet?
Campaign Evolved.
Yeah.
I think it's just 2026. Let me see.
Okay. My theory then would be that maybe it comes
just
out
2026. No month or anything.
Okay. I feel good. Game Awards always an option, right? But sometimes you never know. Sometimes Xbox has been silent at those things, like the Xbox brand, and now that Bethesda's a part of that, right? There's always some like a games out or DLC, so maybe. But I feel like Starfield get a bigger showcase. You never know, because I think Jeff will sometimes take whatever, but at the same time, maybe if he has bigger stuff, especially December's the bigger show, it's a thing of like, okay.
And that could be like the PS5 announcement for it as well.
That's
Starfield,
what I
which
was going to
still
say.
has not
That
happened.
whether it's Game Awards or whether it's January, I think the DLC will be saved for. And also, if you get on PS5, it's all this together as well. So that's what I'm kind of theorizing that, and that's why I thought if Halo was early in next year, they might go like, oh, let's wait a little bit, let Halo have its time, and then roll out Starfield. But if Halo's 2026, that could be more in the spring. So yeah, my theory is I bet it's January, and then I bet it's also the PS5 announcement too. Easily could be Game Awards, but I think whenever you get that DLC comes the PS5 announcement as well.
Yeah. I guess Starfield DLC does just make sense to me to be in that developer direct thing if they want to do that, and that might be a good way to show off. Here's what's new. I don't know. It may be weird to have like an Xbox developer direct where they announce a PlayStation announce date, because I feel like those usually come later. But I guess Doom Dark Ages would have had that too. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to get used to that, and it's not that weird anymore because they've just done it so many times. But Travis, any other Fallout thoughts, or should we move along down the dusty old trail here?
Nope, let's get dusting.
All right. Well, let's dust it first to an ad break, and then we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Donkey Kong Bonanza came out in July. Travis, it's taken you a couple months, but you've finally rolled credits on this bad boy. You've peeled back
Yeah.
the banana and had every last potassium bit there for you. We did a kind of spoiler-free discussion where we talked, about our first few hours with the game back in July. So go back and check out that episode. But from here on out, full spoilers. If you haven't beat the game yet and don't want to know what happens near the end or anything, this is not the discussion for you. There's an episode all about that kind of thing. We probably won't talk about mechanics much. Probably more just like worlds and moments and things like that would be my guess. But yeah, Travis, you've beat this game now. What do you think of Donkey Kong Bonanza now that you've played through this whole thing?
Yeah, honestly, I think that's I talked about in that original one, and I think I still hold the same way, where it's a game, and even earlier tonight, it's a game that I have lots of fun and can easily be like, I gotta kill some time. I do want to smash some stuff, but at the same time, I think, one, there was multiple times where I think, oh, here's my chunk to do a big playthrough, and then something happened in my life. Life's been hectic since Donkey Kong Bonanza's come out, but also I feel like there's times where I would be doing it, and then, like we talked about the initial review, but it still continued on where it just can feel a little samey at times, right? So you just don't. I don't feel like it's like a Death Stranding where, man, I don't want to put down this remote because the next thing across there, what's this guy gonna give me? You just don't know, right? Or even like GM mode for me, it's like you can get one email where it's like, oh, I'm playing this for another 45 minutes because I want to get this contract, get this power card, whatever. Where Donkey Kong, it's always just kind of rinse and repeat. It feels very much just like a good ambience vibes type of game though, of listen, because the soundtrack's good. And I think my thoughts as far as the game is pretty much the exact same where I was before. I think if I overall, I would give it like an 8 because it is just like a fun time. I like the stages; it's beautiful. I like the score. There was some fun surprises at the end. It's nowhere near like if I make a Nintendo top 10 or even top 20, I don't think it'd be in there, but I could still say I had like tons of fun with it. But I think that's another reason why it took me so long. Other than life stuff, was I would play hour and a half, and then be like, "Okay, I'm ready to switch it up or do something else," or just kind of go, okay, I'm ready for bed. That game also just put me to sleep many times, and that's not a bad thing because it's bad. I just feel like because there is a repetitive motion to it, and even then, because at that point when we talked about, we did another side quest and you had gone further, I think it beat at that point, and even getting the other animals, like there's some fun ones in there, but nothing that was a big change up. I think that my favorite's the elephant, just because I love that trunk.
Love the elephant.
Yeah,
So
the
good.
elephant's awesome. So again, like I had tons of fun. I think it's just a case of, we were talking about Luigi's Mansion. I think it's similar to how me and Taylor felt about 3, where we had fun with it, but we're a little let down. That's where I was with Donkey Kong, where I think my expectations kind of overhyped it a little bit for myself because it had been so while. But on the whole, I still had a fun time with it, and even the surprise we're gonna talk about the end, or the back half, I was surprised by that because I think many times I said, oh, they're gonna save that character for a little bit. So I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, because I kind of thought that was like a perfect setup for a sequel. Is, oh, we haven't done this guy yet, and well, now you've done him, so you can always bring him back. But yeah, overall, and the same thing is, I enjoyed it. I didn't absolutely love it, but I probably would still buy a sequel, to be honest. Like I enjoyed it that much, so that's where I am.
Do you enjoy it enough to buy the $35 DLC?
Nope. Do not enjoy it enough to buy that. From what they showed, I remember it was that early console, or the Nintendo one we watched a couple months ago, and yeah, I don't like. I'll spend a full price amount for a full game, absolutely. DLC, and the DLC that they showed, not so much. No.
Yeah, it's funny. I had like my original. I wrote out a bunch of notes back when I played Donkey Kong Bonanza, and just left them on my note sheet for when we finally got back to this. And one of the things I was going to be like, ooh, what are they going to do for a DLC? And it's funny that now, since then, we've actually had a DLC announced and come out that is playable. And
I've heard nothing about it. I've heard no chatter, and I haven't seen anything on a gaming podcast list. I haven't seen anything online. I'm not saying it's bad. I just feel like it just felt like one of those classic cases of, just hold that back. Just hold that back. We don't need to put that in the base game.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I've heard it's fine. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
good enough, all that kind of stuff. Do you think we'll get more DLC for this game, or are they kind of content with just the one like quick little post DLC pack and then move on to the next thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because you were mentioning that about Strikers didn't get that much. I think we all thought Mario Kart by this point would have got a lot more. And
yeah,
like even the Donkey Kong Bonanza, I thought that was a layup of, oh, absolutely, they'll do some more. One DK skin has to be something, especially in the game. Like, you could have done all these animals as the skins of Mario Kart, right? Or even the multicolored Donkey. Like, there's so much opportunity. I know that's
the
a bigger
outfits,
thing.
but like I think young Pauline for sure seems like she'll definitely happen in there. And K. Rool, now that he's like back in the limelight, like throw him on a cart. I would love to see that. And like Diddy Kong is still not in. Mario
Oh,
Kart World, like
Daisy.
Donkey Kong's the only one from that realm that's actually playable in there.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
a little odd, but I'm gonna say no. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. I think another in terms of like how much sales would it generate, obviously they had this one here, but I mean, based on how quickly this first one came out, like after the game came out, it seems like one of those things that they kind of just made even before the game even released, right? And then they
I
just
agree.
kind of split it off to sell it later. But like, yeah, like the Switch 2 is still new-ish. It's still selling. For some people, it is still like sold out in some places, and they can't get their hands on one. I think most people are able to get one if they really want one, though. But it's still like, okay, well, the amount of people who own a Switch 2 and own Bonanza and are going to buy it is pretty minimal. Like I think some games later in a console's life cycle, maybe they're more likely to get DLC sometimes. I think that I don't know if I'm pulling that out of my ass. Like maybe I should go fact check that, but it feels like a thing that can be kind of true.
I can buy it.
But yeah, even like Mario Kart 8 was kind of weird where it got that DLC for the Wii U, but then like years and years and years and years later, we got like all those courses.
Oh yeah,
Like,
all
that
the
was
time
so-
too. It felt like it was always getting like once the DLC started with
Yeah.
Mario Kart, it was flowing. It was going fast.
It was,
so.
but that was years afterwards. So I don't know what
Yeah.
they're gonna do for World. Like maybe they're just gonna come back in 5 years and do DLC for that. Like I really do
Could
hope
be.
we get that DK thing, but it
Could just wait till
feels
there's a bigger base on there. If people that's bought
Yeah.
the Switch 2 and everything gives you another reason to
'Cause
buy Mario Kart. So
I don't think we're getting like another Nintendo Direct this year. I think we're pretty well set up. Like we just got that one for
Yeah.
Kirby. Kirby's coming out in a few weeks. You have the Age of whatever the fuck that Zelda, Muso game's coming out. You have Metroid. So like I don't think we're getting another Direct this year, and I don't think Mario Kart is one of those things you just drop on Twitter. Like I think you want to have that in a Direct. Like they do like the Luigi's Mansion drops, like those kind of things
yeah,
for the
that's
online they do on Twitter, but I don't think they want to do that here. So, Travis, what is top of mind? What's your favorite layer in Donkey Kong Bonanza?
my favorite layer. I did really like because I think there's an added element. I can't remember what the names are. You also got to remember I was playing this game without a map option. I played it the whole way through.
True.
I beat the game.
Impressive.
I
that's
will have
that's got to be a speedrun category, like no map percent. Or
Yeah.
something like
I will have to bust it out now for going to do the other ones now. But
Right.
I think there was that world that was, I don't remember the name, but it was a lot of lava and a lot of hot stuff going on around. I think some of the early
that.
ones were good
Is
too.
that the feast layer, like the foodie
Yeah,
layer?
I think so. Because
The
there's
one
a
where
lot
like
of
instead of lava, it's like deep fryer oil, pretty much.
Yes, that's the one. And there's some areas until you get the elephant you can't really access and stuff. So I don't know. I like that aesthetically because it was the lava had like a gold tinge to it. So you
Weird
kind
looking
of
map for sure. And like Mario
Yeah.
Odyssey had a world kind of like that as well. So they like their food worlds, and
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever really got that for Donkey Kong, even though he's always
That's why I liked it.
eating. So it
Yes.
feels very thematically accurate.
That's why I liked it because everything else, like the beach world's like, okay, I can get that. Like a watery place, yeah, a bit more tropical. It's like, yeah, we're hitting the DK classics here, So, but that one, that probably somewhere a little bit before King K. Rool. It's like the groove layer or something like that. Like
Groove
that's a bit
Layer's
more.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
it's a
when you
bit
come back to it. There's
funky.
actually some post game stuff there, like a couple extra
Oh,
little
okay.
quests to do. So
Okay,
that
cool.
was because the first time I was there, I was like, I like this. It's cool, weird vibe, but it is kind of small. And then yeah, it was
Yeah.
like when you actually go back there and there's a little bit more to do. That was exciting. But I'm glad you said that because I think Feast Layer is my favorite as well. I think it is probably the individual biggest world, and so
Yeah,
that
I got
also
lost a
helps.
couple
Like it
times.
just that one felt like forever, even for me to see all the different zones of it, but super fun. And I love that the sub layer for the feast layer was like the deep fryer layer where you're like underneath the deep fryer machine and it's like nasty metal and like little deep fryer oils like seeping down from the roof. Like I thought that was just like a really fun.
Yeah.
Like how many games, especially platformers, have like the inside of a deep fryer as like a level theme? Like that is so weird and great. I love it.
No, I was gonna say maybe the only places that maybe like toy soldiers back in the day on the
Sure,
Nintendo,
maybe,
like
but even
I
that
bet
feels
that,
like
you know.
kind of specific. Like maybe they were on
Yes.
the stove or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love that one. I also really like the landfill layer, which is the one that's just like entirely dirt, and like you have to break like literally everything to get through it. Like there's just no open space pretty much whatsoever. I think that was one like right before the feast layer. So I really like that one. The biggest disappointment for me though in the game, most disappointing layer, has to be racing world. Did you feel the
okay.
same?
Yeah, I didn't like it didn't stick with me that much to be honest. So yeah, I won't say most disappointing. I don't think I had a disappointing one per se. Because I feel like I could never gauge with the also because without the map, I could never gauge from the start to the finish the worlds. It wasn't like a classic video game where okay, you're gonna start. Let's say there's 10 worlds, right? And it's get bigger, bigger, bigger. They're kind of all over the map as
Yes,
far as you'd go to
definitely.
one super small and then very big and then medium sized and very small again. So that's why for me, I never like I don't think anything to me like the racing world didn't disappoint me because I think there's some more fun things you could have done with it, but I just didn't know what to expect each time I got into a world because there's
Yeah.
times where late game I get somewhere and it's like, oh, you've already passed this layer. You're like, what? I got here like 20 minutes ago, right? So, and I also didn't mind that because it kind of changed up a little bit, but that's where my expectations were kind of out of whack and all over the place. I didn't know really
Hmm.
what to expect there. So I didn't have the same disappointment that you did, it sounds like. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think, knowing from the trailers that we saw, like Diddy and Dixie at some point, I was like very excited for that moment when
yeah.
like, oh, how are they integrated into this game? And then when I got there and it was Racing World, I'm like, Diddy Kong is hosting a Diddy Kong kind of racing world, like sublayer. That is amazing. That's such a fun little reference. And then you do like one race and then you leave. And I was like, oh, that was really quick. And I went back there, and to get like 100% completion, it took me like a half an hour or something. Like there was just very little to do. There was almost nothing to collect. And even like the racing theme, like could have been fun to have all these different stalls. I think of like how great the Miami map is in Hitman, and it's like you
Yeah.
could have so many fun different zones within like a racing setting and like the behind the scenes and all this kind of fun stuff. And it feels like we didn't really get any of that. And then I freaking hated the racing mechanic that they had in there, where you're
Yeah,
like
it wasn't
riding
good.
Ramby and you have to like not go through this annoying slow sludge, and then you have to like climb up on this rainbow thing that never really felt good or seemed quite right. And then
Yeah.
like you do the race, you can do it again for like a bonus banana or something like that, but it's like this, it's just the exact same. I was
I'm
hoping
not
it would be
going
like, oh,
back.
now we're gonna put like 8 racers on here, but it just kind of felt very small and underwhelming for what I thought was gonna be a really cool weird theme.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the girls ever get to that because they played a little bit of it. I don't think it grabbed them yet. I think they asked a
Mm.
couple times for it, but
did,
they're
did you
still in
ever
the
try the
late mode.
co-op with them,
No,
the
I
little
never did.
pony?
Never got a
Okay.
chance to. I should
Okay.
at some point, but I'm the next one on the bat is going to try Luigi's Mansion and see. I
Oh,
think
okay.
when it might be okay. I don't think Logan's old enough for it, but you never know with kids and games and what can work better and whatnot.
Hmm.
But that's still on the bucket list for the Donkey Kong one because
Yeah.
like I said, I don't think I'm done with the game. I do want to move on and like I said, do Alan Wake and other stuff. So, but I will dip my toes back, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get to a point where I ever 100 complete it, but maybe I will because I feel like when that Donkey Kong movie comes out, other stuff like I got a perfect game just to put on for a little bit and have some
Hmm.
fun. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think at one point in the game you get to there's like a split path, a fork in the road, and you can choose to go to the ice world or the jungle world, and then
yeah,
naturally I just went back to the other one afterwards.
yeah,
I loved both of those. I think every especially Donkey Kong game always has like an icy world or a jungle world, but I really liked the jungle one because it was like jungle poison, and then I liked that the ice one was like ice lava was like the theme. It was like a mixture of those two
yeah,
things, which is like a fun kind of contrast. So that was another highlight for me as well. And then even, I think one of my favorites was just the Ingot Isle, like the first big open space you get to after you get through like or I guess it was the lagoon because the Ingot Isle is like I think the tutorial zone. Then you go to the lagoon one. I really like the layeredness to that one. So those are definitely some of the highlights for me. But yeah, I guess getting to some of the end game stuff. So like when you get to later in the game, throughout the game, Void Kong is set up as like the big head
hmm
honcho villain, but you're mostly fighting, I think her name's Poppy and then Grumpy Kong.
yeah,
And then eventually you dispatch them, you get to fight Void Kong. But then there is the fake out with King K. Rool. He comes in. You're going through this area that has like a bunch of like King K. Rool like bellies, and I was like, oh my god, those are King K. Rool bellies. Those big golden bellies with the big belly button sticking out. I'm like, this looks so much like K. Rool. And then he finally pops up, which is amazing. You go through like this one initial boss fight, and then there's like fake out credits, which I think the original Donkey Kong Country had too, of like King
oh,
K.
okay,
Rool's like the developer or whatever, and like it has all his like Kremlins are like the developers and things like that. And then you go through and you have like the last sequence where you go to New Donk City. But yeah, I
yeah,
think that for me, as much as like middling as some of the game was, I think it had like really high highs and like some lower lows or a lot of just mediocre stuff in it. That finale, like that last like hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it was like really great, and just like the
yeah.
variety of it I thought was super fun, and everything with K. Rool because I'm just such a K. Rool fan. So glad to get him back in a game, and I love that whole end sequence.
I guess I'd have to. That's the funny thing, right? Because I thought about that, and yeah, the ending sequence is great. Even the boss battle. My only kind of critique about the ending battles, I thought they were going to make it in a way where you kind of almost had to use all the different animal structures, and I feel like they did that like a little bit, but they didn't
Yeah,
go
fair.
full. Like to me, that's what I would have done. Is
I was
you
mostly
had lost
lost an
these.
elephant in that
Me
final like
too.
boxing ring
Yes.
match.
Yeah, because you just want to get going, shoot stuff, and then you can. It was gorilla and elephant. Because if you could pop off stun and then
Right.
gorilla, you're just doing a bunch of damage.
Yeah.
But that's where that's only my one note. Is very cool. K. Rool had a very cool aesthetic, looking like godly and whatnot. But would have made it that okay, you have to use every single thing you've learned here in a different way. Maybe it could have been annoying and challenging, but I feel like that's what I thought was going to happen, and it didn't. So I was surprised. But yeah, I thought. K I didn't think K. Rool would never be in there. I thought he'd be eluded. And even when we see him the first time, I thought, okay, you're going to kind of branch off, and that's maybe going to set up stuff down the line. And I thought, okay, well, this whole time saying, you might see Diddy and Daisy, and they show them off in a little bit. That's fine. Sets them up for someone else. And same with K. Rool. I thought, oh, they might wait. But at the same time, I can't even remember, like with Tropical Freeze, is he like the main last boss in that game?
I don't think so. No,
No.
I think his last game was 64, like that. He
Yeah.
was a villain in.
So that's why for me at first I was always like, oh well, they gotta save him because I think it's because of Smash. I think it's also because of how much you talk about him. But because that's what I also grew with 64, right? So in my mind, it's just it's K. Rool, that's the bad guy. So it's almost like the Batman Joker thing of like, oh, you could like have K. Rool sit this one out. But then when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I guess you shouldn't, because if they're trying to rebrand him in a way and get more people affiliated with Donkey Kong that haven't been in years, it's like you kind of do got to reestablish his arch enemy as well too, right? So at first I was surprised that he ended up becoming the main one. I went, oh, how do I feel about that? But then once I sat upon it, and it was just fun. It was fun to do the fighting and everything like that. But and for the story, the fake out credits were great. I'm always a sucker for that. You talk about Donkey Kong, I don't remember that. One of my favorites, they did that again. Talk about Batman Joker when we played that with the Arkham Asylum game. They did that there as well. So always a fun time. But yeah, so it was a very nice surprise. At first I was confused because I thought, oh, they're going to save this. But so I bring K. Rool back or do other things. And yeah, so it was nice to see him in all also we have him Smash, but in this grand scale, HD boss battles, taking the mainframe, and kind of a good little fake out, because I didn't think K. Rool was going to be the main baddie right now. So because even his Donkey Kong family, they are around, but they were in as much as I thought they were going to be in it. So
Right. Yeah, no, they definitely saved it for like really right near the end of the game, which is fun. And yeah, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember like when you finally get to the wrestling match with him, and he has like that transformed version. Oh, do you remember what his name was in that? Like they give him like a new name. It was.
Oh no, I can't remember what it was. No,
I'll have to look that up because it was a really fun. It had a very like Dark Souls vibe to the name of just like the reborn like King of Vile or something. I forget, it was something like that. But yeah, that was really fun when that popped in. I love that the final boss fight of Donkey Kong 64 is like a wrestling ring match where you kind of have one sequence with each of the playable characters in there, and so I like that we're kind of back in a wrestling match for this final sequence, which is kind of
that's
a nice
a good point. I didn't
homage.
even think about that. Yeah,
And yeah, even like the New Donk City part of it, like I'm kind of two minds of that, where because the feast layer happens, and then you have, as you mentioned, like a couple pretty small layers after that when you're leading up to like the K. Rool stuff, and I just felt like the game needed like one more big zone because there were just so many like middle-sized or smaller ones, and so I was hoping that we'd maybe get just one more. And when we get introduced to New Donk City, I'm like, oh hell yeah, bringing back this. Yeah, it's a location from Odyssey, but bring that back. Have me go through like King Kong style, like through this New York type setting, smashing stuff. That's going to be super fun. Is like the fun, big last final world, and you go into the final boss fight. And the fact that it was like, oh no, there's actually sludge everywhere, and it's more of like a platform sequence was a bit of a disappointment. And like if anything, that feels like it could be grounds for like a decent DLC if they want to do one more, like a New Donk City.
Yeah.
I don't know,
or even a sequel. You could pick up there, right?
That's
of like
true.
King K. Rool or
I mean,
someone destroying it.
The only weird part about picking up there is that this kind of almost seemingly like connects like right into Odyssey in a way, and like sets you up with New Donk City.
True.
So it feels like more of a prequel in that way. So I don't know if they would do that with a DLC or a sequel, but they definitely could. But even like little details, like when you're in New Donk City, there's like posters for Lanky Kong and like the rest of the DK crew. So little homages, shout outs to the 64 crew that we're obviously very nostalgic for.
Yeah.
But that sequence was really fun. I just, maybe I was being a bit greedy, and I think I was also getting a little bit salty when they had that DLC come out so soon after. That was pretty expensive.
That's fair.
And I was like, okay, nah, this probably should have just been in the game. This feels like it should have been like the last epilogue kind of level, the one they had in there, and like that extra mode could have just been in there as well. But did you go? Or I guess you haven't done this yet, but I would recommend. There's these, I think they're called rehearsals, and I think to activate them, you go back to just all the different, like the big gorilla guy, you go to the ostrich guy, and you can do like a post-game additional challenge thing, and it is like the hardest content in the game, which I think the game lacked at times was like actual difficult stuff. At like the final boss fight actually was a little bit tricky in that final sequence.
A lot of lava all around, a lot of stuff that can hurt you.
Definitely. But
and he was the king of rot, by the way. You were asking.
There you go.
King of rot.
King of rot.
Yeah.
Thank you. I knew it was something like that, which is a perfect name. I love that. And man, I hope, because I feel like he definitely will be in the next Smash game as well. Bring him back again. And
really?
I think K. Rool will be back in the next Smash. Yeah.
We got to do the Smash guys. I think that's a hot take. I feel like because I feel like I don't. I guess again, like we said, it all depends what they do that Smash. To me, if they go back to basics and maybe keep it like a smaller roster, do some different stuff that way.
I feel like isn't K. Rool like relevant again now that he's been like in the new
no,
3D
that's a good
game.
point.
He could have some fresh moveset stuff, and like Donkey
I
Kong
would just have to know that
so
roster size, But again, yeah, if you're trying to revitalize Donkey Kong, then yeah, you should be in there. So I can't say he's assuring, but you've maybe sold me a bit more now. Where at first it's like, I don't know, like, are you gonna put a spot on when it's not ultimate? Like, let's say they go back to Bones, like, oh, we're only doing 30. It's like K. Rool's not gonna slot then,
Fuck, if they go back to 30, that would be kind of crazy.
I would love it just to
cut
see
55 characters from Ultimate. My God,
I would love to see it just to see and get a little crazy, But that's for another time. But yeah, you made some points, so I could see him in there.
Yeah, but yeah, good to see him back. But yeah, definitely, if you are going back at some point, I recommend doing those rehearsals, and then go back to the disco layer. And I think it's pretty obvious, like when you can pick up, there's like a new thing to do there. So that's some fun stuff. There wasn't really much else post-content stuff. Like, you can go back and collect all the bananas, but for me, I feel like I'd done most of the fun things I wanted to do. I'd seen most of the layers at that point, so there wasn't too much more to do. I definitely did not get 100% completion.
No,
and I will
not
never,
like there's fun stuff to buy, like oh, I want to buy this or do that. It's pretty, But again, as I said before in the first review, and I'll say it again here, I imagine that's why, and hopefully when the girls get a little older, they'll still like it or get back into it. But if I was a kid that had summer breaks and whatnot, then that'd be great. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get every banana I can, right? So at least if you love the game, there is lots of kind of repetitive stuff to do, but if you like doing that stuff and destroying stuff, it's there for you, right? So
yeah, definitely. And then I'd saved this question from Clay, who asked this way back when we did the original episode, which is, where does it rank for you in terms of DK games at large? So now that you've beat the game, where does this rank for you in your Donkey Kong ranking?
Okay, so that's a good question. So I feel like I would not include Diddy Kong Racing, right? Or would I?
That's up to you. It's your ranking.
So for my games, because I feel like I remember
you should give at least two versions of the list, maybe with and without Diddy Kong Racing. Because
I won't, because they're one game that's pretty much the exact same. Because the problem is the older Donkey Kong games, other than the original, I would have to replay. All the rest of those just kind of blend together. So to me, it's the very first original one. It's 64. It's Tropical Freeze. It's this. And then I feel like it'd probably be Diddy Kong Race. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. Like, I'm not going to count the drumming game. The drumming game's last then if we're counting it, which I did play at some point, but I never owned it. So, and same thing, I'd have to go back and even replay that original one to see how much I enjoy it. Because that one has a lot of nostalgia. That's one that I played with my dad a lot back in the day, was that and Mario. So I think I would, just for the nostalgia sake, put that at number 2. 64 has to be in the first. And same thing, I want to replay that too. I cannot wait till the day they get that on the Switch store and we can play that. And then either we're still in love with it, or it's like, oh, playing it at this age and this, it's maybe I'd glorified it a little bit. Right? Because
we played it. I want to say recently. It was probably like 10 years ago now. I guess it was like early GV days. When we
and it's, at that point I did, but just an actual A to B, start to finish, play the whole game. It doesn't get the same point too. But the good thing that game has for it is, I think with the multiple characters, that's where the repetitiveness goes away, right? Because I bet the actual in-game stuff is pretty basic, and it's like this game where you're doing a lot of stuff over and over. But because you have options that there, so I'd say 64, original Donkey Kong. I'll put Bananza, I'll put Diddy Kong Racing, and then I'll put Tropical Freeze. Because I enjoyed it enough, but it didn't. I don't know. It didn't. It didn't hit the way that even this one at least did hit for me. Give me a sense of wonder. So I'd have to look and see if there's more. But I think that would be my ranking. And same thing. Maybe if I played Donkey Kong Country and I was like, you know what, there's X, Y, and Z. Why this is age. Maybe Bonanza could edge it. But as of right now, 64. I have to kind of replay that again. But again, that also has a bunch of nostalgia there. So, but still, all good games. Like even Freeze was a fun time, for the ones I've played. So I've probably avoided some really bad Donkey Kong games. So
yeah, I think for me, 64 is the number one spot for sure. And then I think I would put Bonanza at number 2 because I'm not really a big fan of the country games. I've played all of them except for Tropical Freeze. Not like rolled credits on all of them, but I've played a good chunk of at least all of them. And it's just not really my preferred like 2D platformer series. And then I haven't really played any of the weird spin-offs. If you include Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which I wouldn't, because Donkey Kong you don't really play as him in that game. He's like the villain of it.
Yeah,
that would probably eke out Bonanza, but I wouldn't really count that for my ranking. So I think for me it'd be 64 into Bonanza, and then I don't know what I would put next. I'm kind of fairly equally mid on like all of the country games, so I don't know. I Tropical Freeze is definitely a one I really want to get to, but even still, like on the Switch 2, it's like extremely expensive. They never really price drop it, so it's just very pricey game. So not really worth it for me when I'm not really a big fan of the rest of the games in the series. Kind
of crazy. That's a Wii game, and it's still I know because it's Switch 2, but just crazy that they just love putting those big price tags
Tropical
on
Freeze.
them, so. Yeah.
Was that a Wii game? I thought that was wasn't it Returns that was on the Wii?
No, Tropical Freeze is a Wii game.
No, it's a Wii U game.
Or sorry, Wii U game. But still, it's crazy to me that it's a Wii U game and that was how long ago? It's still almost a full price game for Switch 2.
Yes.
Bonker. Bonanza.
It is Bonanza. Anything else on this game, Travis?
No. Like I said, I enjoyed my time with it. A little underwhelmed, but still a fun game. I am very excited though to have. Each console has that. This was not that. I'm hopefully, in the next 3 to 5 years, and I don't think Metroid's going to be that for me. There is that, that's the game I associate with the Switch 2. I thought right out of the gate that would be Donkey Kong, and it's kind of funny that I kind of got snake bit that way at Luigi Mansion 3. Like, other than Marvel Alliance, that was the Nintendo game I needed when I got it. Like, you know what? Very good, but didn't hit the heights. Same thing with this. So I'm kind of at a bad streak of that first Nintendo brand game. Like, I've been waiting so long for this, and that is just the instance of, you just work yourself up sometimes. But nonetheless, good game. Excited to see what this company does more, like this developer does more. Excited to see another 3D Mario at some point, and I hope there is more. I hope because I'd love to see, what do you do for a sequel? I hope it's not literally just let's just create a bunch of new locations and just destruction all over. I think that's a good base, and then let's see what else new you could do. So maybe more funky boss battles, which I think had a good time. Even if you got some more characters in there, that could be fun too. So I hope this could lead to that situation where the first one's a good to great game, but then you play the second one, like, okay, this now they're really cooking. They got all the ingredients together, and they create a great Donkey Kong stew. So I'll be excited one day if we're watching Game Awards and Nintendo Direct and the Bonanza logo and the 2 pops up. I'll be excited. So I'll take that as a good thing for the game. So
yeah, no, I would as well. And there's, as you just kind of laid out, there's so many directions they could take that. So that could be a fun thing if they decide to go down that route. But yes, finally good to close the chapter on.
Sorry, everybody.
No, it's good to finally close the chapter on this one. I guess it's only been like 3 months. It's not that bad. It's not like it's like years later that we're finally getting to the spoiler discussion of this. Travis, thank you for joining me. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back next week as usual. Have a good one. Bye-bye.